Okay.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, here we are. This is Clara.
I'm Amanda.
And we are the co-chief executive officers of List Perfectly and also the founders. And today we're very excited because we have a special guest. And not only a special guest, this special guest is going to share his story in one partnership that we're very proud to announce.
Yes.
And welcome, Eddy from Sizely.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Hello again, Amanda and Clara. And Alex in the background. Really excited to be here.
Welcome, Eddy. We're so happy to have you here and just learn more about you and Sizely.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know Eddy, he is the CEO of Sizely. Sizely is a recent partnership that we've been working very hard to get with Eddy, so we can help you to bring measurements, okay, to your listings, so you can reduce returns, okay, you can communicate better, okay, with your buyers, reduce questions, and so many other benefits that this great partnership is bringing for our reselling community. And what do you think if we get started?
Let's get started. Alrighty. So, Eddy, first question. Tell us about yourself and how you got the idea for Sizely.
Awesome. Happy to do so. Well, first of all, I just want to say, thank you again for having me. And then also, Amanda, we've been in touch for, I think, over a year with Amanda and Clara, and we have observed each other's journey, and we're really excited on where List Perfectly came from and essentially how far you brought such a really important tool for the seller community. And I think also just piggybacking on the partnership, I think we both collectively decided this is the perfect time right now to work on a partnership. Also mainly because on both sides, we received questions from our community to have a partnership and have an integration playing. So this is essentially the perfect time to have it started. So now talking a little bit about myself, the easiest way to think about myself is I love building products. Sizely is one of them that I'm really, really excited about. And Sizely originated based on a need that I had myself. I used to be an active eBay seller where I was listing 20 to 30 items on a weekly basis. And quickly discovered that I'm getting a lot of questions around sizing and measurement and so on. And in many instances, English wasn't my first language. English is my third language. I really got confused about all of the different measurement areas, the inseam and where exactly they're placed on different clothing items. And I really got confused all the time. And I thought, well, isn't there a visual representation where I can just draw it out and essentially show it to people? And quite frankly, that wasn't nowhere near on the internet. I couldn't find a solution that does exactly what I was looking for to essentially communicate measurement and sizing in a visual way rather than to write it all out. And then also ideally in a visual way that makes instantly sense for a customer to see where measurements were taken. So that solution wasn't out there. So I decided, okay, it's time to essentially build it. Thank you also so much for all of the early supporters of Sizely. In the beginning, it was essentially just like a one-page tool that was free for the community. I think we had over 10 different templates, but then over the time, I pretty much got bombarded with emails on, hey, we want this and we want more templates and all additional features. And fast forward to today, we have over 300 different design templates across clothing, sunglasses. We even have dog vests on Sizely. So ultimately, all of the requests have been heard, and we were really excited and lucky to have them implemented into Sizely.
Well, Eddy, I love that you shared how we actually first connected because it brings me back. And for anyone that doesn't know, we actually launched in way back in April of 2019. And Eddy was one of the first people that we contacted. And first of all, Clara and I have been resellers since I started in 2003. So I completely understand and empathize with your plight of when you list things online and, you know, the inseam and all those things. I saw sellers doing that, but it was very complicated. It was like HTML templates, and you had to actually dig into the code. You make your template, dig into the code, and change it every single time.
Okay, I'm the non-technical. Eddy and Amanda are very technical compared to me. You show me HTML code and I don't care how cute it looks, okay? I don't care, you know, where it's accepted. I just ran away. I don't like to work with code. I don't like to see that. So I am so... And another thing, don't you hear his story being so similar to this perfectly? Absolutely. It's like you created Sizely out of a desperation solution for yourself, because once you understand the benefits of measurements, you can't go back to live without measurements.
And I think you probably also get it quite often, right? It's like at the very end, it's the buyers that want the measurements, that are asking the questions, that send out the questions, right? And I think, you know, as a seller or as a modern seller in today's society, you need to use the best tools you have at your disposal to have an edge in the marketplace, right? Be it in this case Sizely for measurements, or essentially List Perfectly for being super efficient and allowing you to, you know, to have more viewability across so many multiple platforms. And I think, you know, especially with 2021 and 2022 coming our way, it becomes really, really important to have, you know, the cutting edge technologies and tools at your disposal to become even like a successful seller, right? So it's kind of like, on one side, you know, I think List Perfectly and Sizely were like ideas out of necessity, but they have to be in place in order to compete in this, you know, in this marketplace today.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, back in those early days, I reached out to Eddy, and I'll tell you why. It was not only your product, because your product was spectacular, right? It really solved a need for people to be able to easily add measurements in a visual way, so buyers could see, okay, if the sleeve is here, here's a visual diagram, and here's what that sleeve is. And you can show it in measurements, inches, or both if you want with Sizely. But what really called my attention was your diligence with your customers.
Oh, yes.
Gosh, that impressed me.
We were impressed. That was something. Yeah. Of course, we tested you, you know. Yeah. And so impressed, you know, with everything you were doing. And we are incredible. Congratulations again. And it's an honor to have you here and be partnered with you, because we feel very aligned, our companies, when it comes to growth and managing and being customer centric, right?
Yes, so important.
I mean, thank you. Well, first of all, thank you so much. And I think, you know, we are to a degree our own customers, right? I mean, like, you know, so it's like, and I empathize quite a lot with every single seller that signs up, be it either on our free plan or our paid plan. You know, I know where they're coming from. You know, I've been, you know, in the situation where I had like, you know, 20, 30 different items that I want to sell, and just confusing where to start. And it's like, we want to take all of the heavy lifting off your shoulders and make it as easy as possible to essentially allow you to sell more effectively, right? So in this case, like being really connected and also hearing, you know, what our community is saying and also what customers are saying is very, very critical to building good products, which in this case, List Perfectly or either Sizely in this case.
Yeah, great. I love it. We covered very well this topic. And Alex, let's go for the next question. All right. My favorite.
Yeah, let's get in.
For those of you, okay, we gave you the introduction now, but the most important thing, what is Sizely and how does it work, please?
Well, I'll probably explain it in a very simple way. What Sizely is, it is an online seller tool to help you to visualize measurements of items that you're selling, be it clothing or be it other items such as tables, jewelry, sunglasses, or even dog vests if you have. And then quite funny enough, we always say, if you need a particular design of an item that you're selling, we have a request form. Feel free to fill it out. We are on a regular basis publish between 20 to 30 new designs on a 2 or 3 months basis. So we continuously increase the designs. And how it works, I believe we have a quick video, but quickly to touch on that, it's pretty much Once you see it, it's very simple. You pick your template, in this case, be it a jacket, pair of pants, or a particular dress that I don't even know the name of. And you essentially have the options to include the measurements of each individual section on that image. The second you press generate, we will be generating an image that includes the design of the item that you're selling, as well as the measurement areas that you inputted. And then also, for any international sellers, we offer 2 metric systems, in this case, be it centimeters or inches, not only for you as a seller, but then also for potential international customers. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you. Alex, we're having a little technical difficulty showing the video. We're learning.
No technical difficulties here. We're just waiting to press play. So
here we go.
Oh, please, press play. I thought that we were having no problem.
And I will say, before we play this demo, while I'm just making a quick visit here, I do want to remind everyone that you're entered to win a Dymo printer and a month free of List Perfectly and a month free of Sizely, just for being here. So please do ask your questions in the chat. We'll be answering them at the end or live. And additionally, just again, stay with us till the end where we announce the winner. Now let's play this awesome demo of Sizely. It's going to answer so many. Oh, yep.
Before we go to the video, where are we going live? Where should I ask the questions? Is it in YouTube or Facebook or Instagram? Are we live on the group?
Yeah, so we're live on our Facebook group, in our List Perfectly Facebook page, and our List Perfectly YouTube. And we are also sharing the link on our Instagram so that people can swipe up and join us.
I love it. Send your questions.
Okay, here we go. And yes, again, a reminder, you can win a Dymo label printer just for being here, as well as free List Perfectly and free Sizely. Okay, so here we go. Demo time.
Thank you, Alex.
Hello, welcome. My name is Eddy. In this quick video, we'll show you all of the bells and whistles that you need to know when using Sizely and becoming a more successful seller when it comes to boosting your sales, reducing customer returns, and then also being more efficient when selling and running your own business. Quick fact, most of the questions that sellers are getting are related to measurement, size, and fitting. With Sizely, that essentially alleviates all of the questions that you're getting, and hence making you a more effective seller and a business owner. Before we get started, with Sizely, you have access to over 300 different designs in case you're selling clothing items such as vests, cardigans, sweatshirts, t-shirts, jackets, or even other items.
The list is long.
Sunglasses, shoes, accessories, belts, caps, hats, even jewelry, as well as luggage, furniture items. All of those designs we have present. Fun fact, we even have designs for clothing, for dog clothing. So in other words, the rule of thumb that we have here at Sizely, if you need a design to help you with the measurements, please message us. We will have it listed for you in no time. Quick note here, with Sizely, you can generate also size charts as well as single size templates that only focus on one particular item. And then also they work across all platforms and marketplaces such as Etsy, eBay, Tradesy, Shopify, Poshmark, Amazon, and so on. If you have your own e-commerce solution, Sizely will also work on that as well. So now let's get started and create a single template. So now we're in the template creator. So here, let's get started with a bottom down shirt. So here we have a couple of options. One rule of thumb is you can list as many or as little measurements as you wish. So in this case, we'll be listing 3 different measurements, one for the chest. And in this case, I'm just filling in dummy data, and then the waist, and then the hip. And then also, please know that you have also the option to type in all of the measurements in inches or in centimeters. You also have, for international buyers, the option to display both centimeters and inches on the output template. So in this case, we included 3 different measurements. And again, you can include as many or as little as you want. And then also you can have, for your own purposes, have the brand, the model, and the size typed in. This will essentially help you organize all of your listings with Sizely. So now let's go ahead and click generate. Here we go. Now you have a couple of options to share your template, be it in this case via URL, have it also embedded on any platform that you're using, or in other words, you can also download that image. So now let's actually take a look. So here you essentially have the bottom down shirt as well as the measurements in inches and centimeters. And that took pretty much a couple of seconds for us to generate. So now let's go back to the template and create a size chart. So here we essentially have more options. Here we essentially have the options to include multiple sizes, and then this will allow us to create a size chart. So in this case, let's do medium, let's do large, and then let's do extra large. And then for the measurements, I can pretty much include the measurements that I wish for each individual section that then will be displayed. The rule of thumb here again, you can include as many or as little measurements in the size chart as you wish. So in this case, let's click generate. And here it is. So in this case, this size chart looks a little bit smaller because it only has 2 items. But as you can see, here we have 3 different sizes with each representing the measurements for the length and the cuff in inches as well as centimeters. So this is it with a quick overview of Sizely and how it works. I hope you're curious to test it out, to try it out, and then ultimately become a more successful and efficient seller in the future. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Great presentation, Eddy.
It couldn't be simpler, honestly.
I think once you see it once and you're like, oh yeah, duh, it makes so much sense. Yeah.
And for those of you that might not be using measurements yet, or you're on the fence, okay, I want to give you a quick story. Amanda and we were full-time sellers. We built with our own money, List Perfectly. There is no investors. I'm the only investor. We built with our own money of reselling. I would have never been able to grow my business, okay, making over $300,000 a year. And I was on track to make $500,000. So close, okay, but I have to come to List Perfectly. And I would have never made it, true story, without measurements. You can. And I had 3 employees, okay? Mm-hmm. One doing shipping, one doing images, and the other one doing listings, okay? I had 5,000 listings, 4,000 active. We have never made it because the volume of questions. I was shipping, 15 packages on an average day. On a Monday, that was 40, 50, wow. Right? And my price point, okay, was $170. I was very lucky. I understood my business with Amanda. We went science to it, to 17x. Yeah. Every dollar I invested was 17. I made it as high as 20, but I couldn't keep consistent. And then my average was 17. So I would have never made it without measurements. True story. You can still see my old listings. I have it on Instagram at the Clothing Vault is the account. And you can see that even at that time, like 3 years ago, I was cross-posting to Instagram with measurements, like Eddy said, on inches and centimeters. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. So in many instances, like, the details become an afterthought, but sometimes if you put yourself into your customer's shoes, sometimes a customer comes onto your listing and they're like, oh, I wonder what the measurements are. And then they, might feel too lazy to reach out and they're gone again. They're up to a different listing, right? And I think, the opportunity cost that you lose essentially is really, really hard to wrap your head around and to understand of how many sales you're actually losing. But also very interesting story, to be honest. Like, impressive, very impressive.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is a true story. So Clara and I were selling since, like I said, I've been selling since 2003. And it was primarily clothing, mostly vintage clothing. And if anybody understands that category, they know that you can't trust sizes. When a size on a garment says medium, well, what is it? Is it a vintage medium, which from the 70s is probably really tiny?
Or is it from the 80s?
Small. Extra small. Or is it from the 80s where everything ran oversized, right? So, even modern items. A lot of designers will just assign random sizes just based on what they think the customer wants to fit in. So it's so important to have measurements. Let's say you even know you're a size large in Banana Republic, for example. What if it's a cotton sweater that was washed? That changes the dimensions of that size. And so the measurements are really the only accurate way that you can convey to your buyers if that item is going to fit.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. I couldn't agree more.
That's totally. I mean, like, and I think we all see it for ourselves, right? We have, clothing from different brands, and then some, we are size small and feel like, hey, the diet is working, and some other ones we're like size large, right? And I think, and the same goes for like buying clothing online, right? And I mean, like for me personally, I usually stick with a couple of brands because I know the sizing there. But how about vintage, or how about some more unique pieces or new brands that I don't know? It's always a risk to essentially purchase something without really knowing the fitting or the sizes there.
Now, I want to add to what you said with brands. I'm assuming maybe for men it's different, but
it's easier.
But for women's clothing, that rule, the same brand doesn't work. Different collections come with different. Yeah. What was medium on the next collection, literally, it's like, oh my God, I can't breathe. It's like, and it's the same brand. So for women's collection, I did not find that, let's say, success. And I wanted just to add that, because people would tell me, sometimes I would get returns, and they're like, a very common brand that I used to sell was Ralph Lauren. And I would be like, Ralph Lauren, depending on the collection, he has different in mind. And some of them, might accentuate your shoulders or your back. Others accentuate your hips or your waist. And it's not all of us. One common question that I get is like, "Hi, Clara, I am this tall, and this is my weight. Will this fit me?" And I'm like, ooh, let me see that.
Let me get out the crystal ball.
Alex, let's go with the next question, Alex. All right.
Who is Sizely for? What types of listings do you support?
Yeah, so we see, the majority of users that use Sizely are professional sellers. Right, we have also plans for sellers that use that sell a couple of items a week or a month, but we see Sizely being heavily used by professional sellers that list 100, 200, 300 plus items on a monthly basis. They really excel at Sizely, right? We see, like sometimes we look at the analytics. We have some sellers that created over 1 or 2 years over 50,000 templates, right? And it's like holy moly, So it's like so I would say usually individuals that are aware of the ecosystem of selling, aware of or have the need to essentially be a little bit more professional, and also want to streamline their business when it comes to reducing the amount of questions, reducing also the amount of returns that they're getting, and then also helping lift their sales numbers by including all of the information, including sizing in a visual way, into their listing. So usually these are the sellers. And we also, going back on this perfectly, we have a lot of those sellers that are high volume sellers that reached out also to us to say, hey, when is the integration coming? I'm using List Perfectly to essentially be everywhere, and I would love to use it more effectively, efficiently with Sizely. So this is usually like the typical category of or the majority of Sizely users. We also have a couple of custom stores and brands that use Sizely. Usually this is more on the higher tier price point. They're essentially using it on fully custom websites. They usually don't tend to be on marketplaces, but it's almost like an e-commerce platform on its own that they're running. So yeah, and then also what types of listings we support. So in this case, as mentioned, 300 different designs. And as long as you have the option to upload an image, Sizely works for you. If it's on any platform or any e-commerce platform you want, Sizely works, be it either for the single size templates or for the size charts. And then also, depending on the platform, we also have the ability to have Sizely charts embedded. So we see that mainly used on eBay, and then also a lot of individuals or sellers that have custom solutions use that feature as well. For us in particular, it really doesn't matter if you want to download the images or have them embedded. We just want to make sure that Sizely works and essentially allows you to be a more effective and impactful seller.
Absolutely. And Orally is saying great information from our Facebook, List Perfectly Facebook group, I think. And thank you. But this is the purpose, okay, to help you understand what Sizely can do for your business. And thank you for bringing this up, Orally.
Yeah, and I think also one funny thing. Sometimes I go into all of the Facebook groups, and I love the community and how engaged they are and how helpful they are in on many Facebook forums. And sometimes, out of curiosity, I'm like, "Hey, what are people saying about Sizely?" And everyone is like, every time if there's a measurement question, people are like, "Yeah, just use Sizely, just do that." It's awesome to see, right? And I think there was a time where we also tracked the net promoter score, which is kind of like a business metric to identify how much how much your customer love you. Okay. And I think we were at 95%, which essentially,
wow.
Yeah, so it's
congratulations, Eddy. That's
and you can essentially track that and compare with other companies. But just seeing that it's like the people that use Sizely, they love it. They use it forever, and it's
bringing awareness, Eddy, because I don't think that the community, the reselling community, understands thoroughly the benefits of adding. I think that most people see as an added chore, okay, but they're not seeing the incredible, and that comes to the next question: the benefits of including measurements. And please, could you? I know we talk about.
I think
again,
I think the strongest benefit, and this is a study that we've done very early, and something that we're currently revisiting because the information that we heard from other sellers shows otherwise. But just like the only metric that you want to look at, we've done a study early in the early days where we looked at sellers that sell with Sizely and sellers that don't sell with Sizely. And we saw on average that sellers that have just having Sizely measurements and they increase their sales by 23%, right? And that was like, oh, whoa, holy moly, just that. Because, to my previous point, you don't see how many customers visited your profile and just then, that's one little bit of information that they need and they didn't bother to message and they're just gone, right? And our hypothesis is that we are capturing all of the individuals that are essentially, bouncing by allowing them to answer, the questions there. And then also, when it comes to the return rates, we also see, in this case, the earlier study, which again we'll be revisiting, shows that half of the returns are just like mitigated, just by having that. In addition, we also seen, and we heard that from the community, if you ever, as a seller, get any disputes about returns.
Thank you for bringing that up.
We had sellers say, hey, you know what? The buyer, claimed it is related because it doesn't fit. It's like, me as a seller, I have done everything to inform the buyer, including having the Sizely measurements there. It's on the buyer to essentially make an informed decision. In this case, that return cannot be counted, right? And there were many cases, or all of the cases that I've heard, eBay was on your side, on the seller side, and said, okay, you did everything you could in your power to inform a buyer. So in this case, we don't accept that return. Yeah. So that was quite interesting.
And I would even say, the trust that you get with your buyer. Your buyer doesn't know you.
Yes.
So the more effort that you put into your listings, you're actually creating a relationship with the customer. And
they'll come back.
They'll come back.
They'll come back.
They'll share your store with your friends.
I cannot emphasize more. Amanda, myself, and Eddy, for those of you that might arrive later, I want to remind you, okay, that the three of us were native eBay sellers,
Yes.
full-time sellers. We
Yeah.
operated at least perfectly and precisely in desperation to grow our business. So this is not something that we're trying to sell you on something here. We already figured it out. We already made the money.
Yes.
We're so we wouldn't be here because of research. We wouldn't be the CEOs of our companies right now that are doing great, okay? Because if it wasn't for the growth that we experience with adding measurements, like Eddy said, okay, you're building your job. Be proactive, not reactive. Don't wait for the question to come. And come on, we're all dreading that question. Will this fit me, or will this fit on my living room that is, I don't know, whatever measurements? And you're like, I don't know. So the thing is that when you're proactive, okay, you're gonna engage a different kind of audience for your buyers. So your buyer is going to be more committed to you because they are noticing you're doing the best you can. Now, the other thing that Eddy brought up is when it comes to disputes. Come on, we all get, we were 5%, okay, on returns only, okay? We were doing one of a kind. Imagine how little my return ratio, and I was making over hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, we were, oh my God, listing like 50 listings every day, new listings, okay? Not really new listings, okay? And that was a bad day, okay? So I was traveling literally like weekly to get, my biggest problem was to get the inventory because you could sell out fast. To have Ralph Lauren, okay, to come and buy in one day, they bought like almost $3,500 of vintage, and they inspired a whole collection of vintage with the stuff we sold.
From the stuff that we sold to Ralph Lauren, we saw it on the shelves of the store.
Yes, in New York, and we're passing by like, oh my God! So
that's hilarious.
And I can't emphasize vintage clothing, which has rendered us its big margin profits, okay? It's more selling a unit, and it's not about volume. You know, it's not about selling 10,000 SKUs of the same t-shirt. So even if you are a drop shipper and you're a big seller of those, measurements still will benefit, okay, tremendously your business. It's for every business, right, Eddy?
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, like, I've seen the most interesting measurement attempts, right, where people, you know, try to, you know, include their own measurements, right? One where they have maybe a really nice piece of clothing that they put on the floor, you know, it looks really nice, and then they have this fat, you know, yellow ruler on top of it, and then on the side, and then on the other side, and I'm like, oh no, it just now looks, you know, less good, you know. And I think the perceived value of the item that you're selling is now less worth, you know. So it's like, I've seen that. I've also seen, you know, including, you know, paragraphs of like measurements on like in the description, which I think is great. It works, you know. It's just like one thing to understand is like, and I see it also on myself, is sometimes I purchase items based on the images, right? And just look through it. So it's like, and I think we see that tendency of visual buying and also now video buying on, you know, platforms such as Alibaba and so on, that are essentially a couple steps further into it, becomes really, really important. Everyone is a very visual buyer, so you want to essentially create something visual for individuals to understand. And I think one of the things that I still personally encounter is like, you know, it sounds like, oh God, now I need to do a measurement template. You know, it really like, it's like such a thing. But if you compare all of the alternatives, it's actually faster to create it with Sizely. And then also at the same time, it's like, one, it's faster, but also it makes you, you know, aside from boosting your sales and helping you with that, but it really elevates your quality that you're essentially putting out into the marketplace to your customers, right? And I think many don't really realize that. They're like, I just need to, you know, more items. But it's like, hey, you know, it's like perception plays a gigantic role, you know, professionalism plays also a gigantic role, right? And understanding that makes you, you know, stand out when it comes to sales when compared to other sellers.
Absolutely. Before we launched List Perfectly, I would go around to groups, meetups, and I would have this little presentation that I would do on description and how important it is to describe your item. And I think that measurements are just so important to include. That's part of creating a great description.
It's the future.
It is. It
is.
absolutely is. And so, it inspires trust. And we actually did a podcast where we talked about customer service. And we believe that part of customer service is providing all the information that you can to your buyer, including measurements, so that, when you deal with customer service, you're going to either have a shorter listing time and include less, and then have to deal maybe with more customers, or no buyers at all, because a buyer might see your item without a full description and measurements and move on to another seller. Or they're going to take the time and send you questions that you have to take time to answer. So our philosophy always was, well, let's front load all of this information. Let's just, when we do a listing, thorough, let's include the measurements, and then that's actually going to reduce our burden of customer service later.
But that's you. That was all you. That's how I met Amanda, Eddy. And the story how I met Amanda was socially. So I'll never forget, I did a barbecue in my house, but she comes with her laptop. And this is a Saturday, Americans, when you put the barbecue on the burger.
And
There's no laptop.
And before smartphones.
Claro. There was no smartphones at the time, right? So she comes with her laptop, and we're drinking, we're eating, we're chit-chatting, then there is music. And all of a sudden, 2 hours later, she goes to the corner of my house, to the dining room, opens her laptop very respectfully, right? And at that time, I was in banking, okay? I did 10 years in banking. And, I was very curious, why would someone, she asked me for my Wi-Fi, no problem, So I was like, okay, if you're going to ask me for the Wi-Fi, I'm going to ask you what you're doing.
Yeah.
I sit down in front of her and I'm like, so what do you do? What are you doing? And she tells me, I'm an eBay online seller. And immediately I thought, me snobby, full of myself, coming from banking. Oh, poor thing. She has no money. Those were the days, okay, that eBay sellers were seen like maybe garage or maybe decluttering your house, right? Yeah. And she's like, and this is my preconception, so ignorant. And then she's like, she turns around, she tells me, I'm so happy, I'm celebrating because I just sold a $200 vest. And I'm like, wow, that must be incredible. Please show me, can I see? And she shows me, and what I can see is a vest that is pre-owned with the hole in the front. Immediately coming from a highly regulated industry, I think, sorry, Amanda, there is a hole there. Is this even legal? You could get, I don't know, in trouble for doing these things. And I'm like, no, Clara. She's like, no, let me show you the description. She goes, and literally there is a fist coming out of the hole.
See, there's a hole.
So she called it a fist as a size hole on the chest area, and there was pictures, like you said, there was even a measuring tape, like a contractor. The contractor. I saw ghetto. I couldn't believe so. I was like, okay, whatever, Socially, we get again 2 weeks later. Not me, again doing another barbecue. She comes again with her laptop, and then I'm like, hey, how did it go with that customer? What do I see? The 5 stars, okay? Feedback from the buyer.
Love the whole.
They love it. I've been looking for this vest, and they send her a picture hugging the wife with
that's awesome.
Met together 20 years ago, and this means so much. Thank you. Now we're renewing our vows, and we're gonna fix it. That's it. I was like, bye banking. Bye. So I was like, how can I do something for you?
That is an awesome story, by the way. That is really cool.
True story.
Yeah.
So that leads us into our next question. So how is Sizely partnered with List Perfectly, and how does it work? I'll take this one. So we made it really simple for our Pro Plan users, and for anybody that's aware of List Perfectly or not aware and not sure how it works. We're a little different than most services out there. We will charge you based on the features that you use. We're unlimited. Create as many listings as you want with List Perfectly. The only thing that we charge more for are the features and the amount of information. So Sizely integration right now is for our Pro Plan members, and we made it so easy. Right in the image box.
I want to add, we do not charge extra for Sizely.
That's right.
Nothing. We do not, I just want to rephrase, we do not charge extra for features. So we add features in our plans, and our plans have never changed pricing. Simple plan 29, business plan 49, and pro plan 69. We do not, you will not pay extra, comes for free, and it's unlimited. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you for saying that, because since we launched back in 2019, we have never, ever raised prices, not one time. So with the Sizely integration that's included for free with the Pro plan, you will go to your add or edit product window, and there's a Sizely logo right there where you would enter your images. And you click on it, it takes you over to Sizely. You do need a Sizely account. So you do need to register for Sizely. And Sizely offers a free account at first, which with options to upgrade. So we highly recommend upgrading as your business needs on Sizely. But you click the Sizely logo when you're logged in to Sizely, takes you to Sizely, choose the template that you want to use, fill it out, and when you're done, there's a button that you click that will automatically send that picture with your measurements to the List Perfectly listing that you're creating.
So it's another image, okay? Like Eddy said, it's the power. The future is visualizing content. The future is not text. The future is going to be videos and images. So what we're doing is helping you add, okay, this magical software that Eddy created, okay? So we visualize those measurements that you enter, and we get them into the List Perfectly listing, and then it's another image to the images that you have on List Perfectly. Don't forget, you have up to 30 images on List Perfectly. All plans at no additional cost, unlimited. The person that has 100 listings pays the same as the one that has 20,000 listings.
Yep. Wow. So I think Alex has some graphics. So you want to just cycle through those, and we'll just show how it works. So you click the button as shown.
Yep.
You're taken over to Sizely, which is the next image below, where you select your template. And then you enter your measurements in your Sizely template.
Yep.
You click generate on Sizely. And then when you're done, you see the export to List Perfectly button right there to add it to List Perfectly. And there it is, just like that. Just a couple of clicks. You've entered your
button away.
Yeah. It's so, we couldn't make it easier for you and more and flexible. So it'll work for any listing that you're doing. You choose your Sizely template, enter your measurements, click a button, and there it is in your listing.
LP and Sizely understand the value of templates. Because you're young, maybe, and you have the power to retype or whatever, don't underestimate. Use templates. That's what correct me if I'm wrong, Eddy. I forgot templates. Which plan of Sizely are including templates? All of them or one of them?
Templates are available in all plans. Yeah, in all plans, exactly.
Take advantage. Look at, did you hear that? So it's available even in the free version. And in List Perfectly, it's unlimited templates in any plan. So we couldn't emphasize, grow your business, be proactive, okay? Be proactive, include measurements, help your buyers to visualize those measurements, and at the same time, reduce your questions. This is so good.
Yeah. So Eddy, what are the benefits? What's included and what are the benefits?
Yeah, I have one small update. I think we just made because I think yesterday night we pushed a lot of new features onto Sizely, including I think 30 new templates and so on. And we also updated our pricing. So the entry price right now, because before we had a free plan, and now that has switched to a more robust micro plan that essentially starts at $4 for any seller to essentially start. And I think in many instances, we included more templates to the starter plan, usually for individuals that just want to test it out, double in it. But usually we see the majority of our customers usually going to the Pro plan or the Ultra plan. So kind of like to break this down, it's like we have the micro plan. You have access to 30 most used templates for anyone that sells every now and then. That's great, a great plan to start. Then we have our Pro plan that starts at $10 a month. Here you essentially have access to 165 different templates. So usually that's like a good start for anyone that is a little bit more serious about selling. And then we have our Ultra plan. The Ultra plan has a couple of caveats. One, you have 300 access to 300 different design templates. You have the ability to create, not only individual design templates, but also size charts. And that's only available in the Ultra plan. We also see that the Ultra plan is the most used plan that we have on our platform, because it just like gives you everything for a very reasonable price. And we've done also price explorations and sent out surveys and so on. And for many, that's kind of like the sweet spot. And then we have the enterprise plan that is way more expensive, a couple of additional features that is more towards individuals that have their own e-commerce store or platform, usually store, that essentially use that one. But I think for the sake of this talk, the majority of, day-to-day sellers that sell across platforms, that do it either part-time or full-time, the Pro or the Ultra plan, I would even say the Ultra plan is usually the one that fits, the majority of sellers.
I love the size charts. And when you mentioned size charts, that was the Ultra, you said?
That's the Ultra, exactly. It starts at the Ultra and then also the enterprise plan. Yeah, exactly.
Great.
And this is, again, right, for sellers that have, might sell unique pieces, but then have a lot with, 5 different shirts and 5 different sizes. They, in that case, use the size charts. Or we have other sellers who just sell new items, and they just go with the size charts. Yeah. I think at the very end, it's like whatever your business is, we help to accommodate your business needs. And I think also when it comes to releasing new features or releasing new templates and so on, we are always very open. I mean, like, we're not open, we're asking for feedback, to essentially, hey, what would make you a more successful seller? What is there that you would wish, we had? And we continuously include them, as recently as last night.
That's amazing, Eddy. And I want to just emphasize that Clara and I really, our business didn't take off until we made investments in our business.
Yep.
And let me tell you, if List Perfectly and Sizely were around when we first started, it would have catapulted our business so much further, so much earlier. And, all of these things, just think about these are investments in your business. Just like you'd invest in inventory, you want to invest in tools that make it easier for you. I can't tell you how many times I see resellers trying to save money, but they end up spending more in either the management and time on your business. This is your business, just like you invest in inventory. If you had a brick and mortar store, you pay for the rent of your facility, the licenses. These are investments in your online reselling business, and they will take you to the next level. Can't emphasize it enough. It's so worthwhile.
And again, we're not here to sell you. These are true stories. Eddy, Amanda, and myself, you can see our website still live, okay? theclothingvault.com. I made it ugly on purpose because our hypothesis was, and I even sent traffic to Etsy and eBay. I did it look at what I did. We built a website and we're sending traffic to eBay and Etsy, and we were observing what the buyers would do, right? And then we would add more measurements in one channel, less measurements in one channel, and then we would just observe. And you can see my website is horrible. It's still live, okay? But the hypothesis was you can have an ugly website, and as long as your listings have accurate information there, you're able to convert visually, okay, the product, okay, and be proactive, not reactive. That means you are giving, because it's an indirect sales, you're not directly selling that person, right? It's an indirect sales. So sales is my forte. When you're doing indirect sales, the only way you're going to close that sale is by providing relevant and accurate information for the product you're selling. And then you will close it. You'll see your biggest problem will be getting inventory, and good inventory. And that's a good problem to have, huh?
Sure is.
It's a really good point, and I think something that Amanda said really struck a nerve, because I think as business owners and and I think also as a reseller, you are a business owner, and I think sometimes it's hard to understand that, but as a business owner, you have tools at your proposal that can make your life easier and, more importantly, make your business more efficient, right? And I think especially, and I still have the tendency where I'm like, oh no, I can do it manually pretty quickly, but then it's like that time could be, spent more wisely. I want to essentially, identify ways to make it more efficient, or to make my business more efficient, be it in this case to have the foresight and having better descriptions and better visualizations of your measurements, but then also using, tools such as, and by the way, I'm a little fan of List Perfectly, because it just makes so much sense, right? Using List Perfectly to, having your item being on so many new platforms, right? And I think in many instances we're like, oh no, it costs $10 or $20 or $30 or whatever it is, but it's like, hey, you're cutting yourself out of many, many sales that you would have potentially gotten, right? And I think the second you start realizing that you are a business owner and you have to operate on efficiency and professionalism, and also use the most impactful tools in this case, that's essentially, changing your mindset and making you a little bit more effective as a business owner. So yeah, I had to piggyback on that note, Amanda.
Thank you, Eddy. And I think what you were saying comes along with this question that says, why did you want to partner with List Perfectly? And we kind of touch on that, but please.
I think, and this may be a lesson for many, because I always operated in my business life in the same way, where, if I meet partners or if I meet individuals, and we get along, not necessarily only from a business perspective, but also like from a people perspective, you're like, and especially when we met, I'm like, they have something going on there, and they're really cool people. The opportunity of having a partnership was not necessarily there at that moment, but you want to essentially stay in touch with individuals like Amanda and Clara, right? And I think this is also like something that I do, if I meet new individuals or new partners, we're like, hey, don't see the opportunity right now, but let's stay in touch. Maybe one day you're doing something interesting, I'm doing something interesting, and the stars aligned, and there will be this opportunity, right? And I think this partnership was also approached in that same manner, where we're like, hey, List Perfectly at the time was like still very, very new. And Amanda and Clara were like, hey, we're ready to get this up and so on. And I'm like, hey, I'm really excited about this. It makes so much sense, And then a year and a half later, we reconnected again, and we're like, hey, now is the perfect time. And we're like, and it was like a no-brainer at that point. It's like, yeah, of course I'm going to do this.
Thank you. It's
well said. Yeah, I can't agree more. I think it's so nice to be able to work with someone who understands the reseller community, who really gets our business problem, and who understands what it takes to get to the next level. And we're so aligned in so many respects, personally and professionally. So speaking for myself, I'm so thrilled with this partnership.
Me too. And we have in the audience saying the Pink Diva Studio. She's saying this is a game changer. We hear that a lot.
Yes.
Game changer. And I'm looking forward to trying this out. You bet, Pink Diva. I promise you will not regret it. And that's just the biggest problem you have is find good inventory. That's a problem, because start selling really fast.
Yes.
Sales will accelerate. Awesome. Alex, you want to go? Do we have any other questions, Alex?
Hi, everyone. So we are done with our questions. We were able to answer pretty much all of them in the chat. So thank you so much to our team for doing that. And we are going to announce our winner right now for our Dymo printer, as well as 1 month free List Perfectly and 1 month free Sizely. So congratulations to Crazy Jewelry Lady
Oh, it's an awesome name.
I love that handle. I think you really spoke to my soul on that because I'm definitely a crazy jewelry lady. So congratulations on your win. And I'm going to duck out and let Clara, Amanda, and Eddy take it away for the end of this live. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
And I couldn't, again, the jewelry, crazy jewelry lady, I couldn't, this is so perfect for you. Not only you will have a printer to expedite, a laser printer, okay, that is going to expedite, okay, your shipping. But with Sizely, I cannot emphasize, right, the measurements of jewelry. Oh my goodness, whether it's a pendant, whether it's the neck chain, do you say, or the collar chain, you know?
I don't know the lingo for
okay, I don't know jewelry, okay, but anyway, so I cannot emphasize, congratulations. This is a great opportunity for you, and List Perfectly. You know, you can choose any plan of List Perfectly. You're not stuck to one plan. So go and grow your business. When you're ready, you sign up, and our team will send you the printer. We'll get that information for you. And again, congratulations. This is what an opportunity for this person to grow their business. Wow.
Congratulations.
I think she's screaming right now, and I can visualize it. Yes. Congrats again from my side, and you will also get an email from List Perfectly, also with the instructions for Sizely. So we're really excited for have you started, and I think you have all of the tools to get started.
Yes.
Yep. And anything else you would like to add, Eddy, regarding what we're doing or Sizely yourself?
Yeah, I think. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I think something that we've also talked multiple times, on previous conversations, is just like how thankful we are to work and to have the reseller and seller community as customers. And I mean, all three of us were sellers, or are still active sellers, and I think this community is so awesome, so funny, and so giving, right? And I think it just brings a lot of pleasure to develop new features and new products for them. And I think, while Sizely helps with the measurement side and so on, I think, List Perfectly helps you with the efficiency and having our multiple marketplaces, right? And I'm just excited to have more and more features developed and essentially help the community to become more professional sellers. And it sounds weird, but it's like, new cool features really excite also the builders, and right? It's like, and therefore I think, like, be it on the Sizely side or List Perfectly side, identify your problems that you have, share it with us, because you essentially have builders that are willing to solve them and help you with running your business. And that makes us happy. Like, really rolling out features is something that people have pleasure in, believe it or not.
Yes, no. What I would suggest, Eddy, then let's do a poll in our group, okay? Maybe, and just understand maybe what they think about what we great after we give them a chance to try for a while. I'm looking forward to see what our listers, we call our customers listers, what our listers will say, and what features. They do come with incredible features. We're learning from them every day, for many important features. And like you said, it's exciting not only for our customers, but also for our developing team.
Yes.
That it gets a little monotonous to maintain the solution unless you
and prioritize, right? You can't develop everything at once, right? There's always a prioritization, but I think overall it sometimes, especially you guys know as founders, it brings pleasure to develop something that is useful to others and helps individuals, run a more effective business or save more time and so on. And I think, that's why Amanda and Clara are running List Perfectly, because it's just like, it's a no-brainer that the solution is so obvious, but then also the pleasure of building it. And I think I share the same.
Yay. There, you got it. This has been an incredible session. I am so excited. I feel that we cover everything. At least, initially, and I think that we're ready, now to observe and receive the feedback from our community. Please share your thoughts. Please share your feedback. Whether we prefer it, okay, on the Least Perfectly Facebook group right now, we're like 7,100 active members. It's a big group and it's very active. For a software company, this is not a reselling resource. Literally, it's the Least Perfectly group. And for a software company, that's big. And it's all organic and real. So come over, give us your feedback. We're taking notes and we're looking forward to grow Least Perfectly and Sizely in the direction you need it.
Exactly.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Eddy. And can't wait for the next time where we get together again.
Exactly. We have to do this again. This is a lot of fun. And then also thank you so much for everyone that took out the time to tune in. Amanda, Clara, and Alex in the back. Thank you so much for having me again.
All righty. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.